Hi guys, I'm Iulia and welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here and you are into architecture and DIYs and Etsy shops, then subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like this video because it helps me a lot. So, long time no talk about architecture, right? I really missed doing this kind of videos where I'm just sitting down, I'm talking to you and I'm sharing a bit of knowledge. But before I'm gonna get into the video, I just wanted to let you know, guys, that as part of my shop, as part of Crafty Wolf, for this Christmas I am doing custom-made drawings. So if you're interested in a hand-drawn image of a dog that you want to offer to someone, or for a cartoon, I don't know, whatever you want, just drop me a message and I'll make it for you. Okay, so now let's get into the video. Okay, let's talk architecture. So, you're in your first year right now. I know that you have just a few weeks left until the end of the term and you have to hand in a portfolio, but maybe you have no idea what to include in your portfolio and it's just a huge big mess. I know it, and I thought it would be useful to talk about this because I was in this situation and I didn't know what to include in my portfolio. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through all the steps and things that you have to include in your portfolio, all the bits and bobs you need to include. It doesn't matter that you're in your first year, second year, third year, these are all useful things that you need to include in your portfolio, so keep on watching. How do you have to deal with your project? What is the first step that you need to do? The first thing that you have to work with and the first thing that you have to understand is the context of your building. You have to understand it really well because a good project will respond to this context. So this is the most important thing in architecture, and it's something that I haven't realized until last year in practice. So understand your context and you're gonna do a great project. The first thing that you have to do and analyze is the past of that area. The second page is about the context. You have to understand really well what types of buildings are around you. Is it low density buildings, medium density residential buildings, shops, conservation area, where is the school in the area? So you have to basically create a diagram with your plot in the middle and then to show what's around you and what's around your plot. Now, if you have Digimap, for example, I know that a few universities are working with Digimap, or maybe you have a different website or a different resource that you can use to create this. Basically, the next page that you need to include is historical development. For example, how your plot looked in 1600s, or then in 1700, and then 1800 and 1900, or present, you know. So basically, you need to show the shape of your site and how it looked through time. The next page, and this is another important one, is land use. Well, again, you need to show your site and then you need to show where the church is, where the shops are, where the outdoor activities are, where the pub is, you know, all these things. You have to show where the community is around your site and how it is organized and all sorts of things. I know that this one is... Jesus. So, sorry about that. So, I know that this one is quite similar to the other diagram about the context, but this one is more detailed, while the other one about the context is more concise and is more general. Next page, density and scale. You need to include the height of your building and the height of the buildings around you. Be careful, especially if you're in UK, you cannot really build a skyscraper next to a building that is 2 stories high because it's never ever going to be approved. So be mindful of that when you're creating your projects in university as well, because you want to be as precise and as correct as possible. Next page, it's about connectivity. You need to show if the bus is going in that area, the tram, the train, how is basically the transportation around you and around your site. The next page, the most boring one, I always thought that this page is extremely boring. It's about environment. Bleh. So you need to include environmental stuff, how the sun moves. It's pretty useless, but well, we have to include this as well. Okay, now we are moving slowly towards the design part of the project. And the first thing that you need to do and find is a really good precedent for your building. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Please don't spend 20 hours trying to invent your project because someone has built it before. Just find the proper building that you like, you're enjoying it, it's similar to the idea that you have, and use the same principles and everything that they use for that certain building, because it's easier and your life is gonna be easier and your project is gonna be better and you'll have more free time. So yeah, this is how you have to do projects in architecture. Now we have to move on to the design strategy. What this means basically. Until now, what you did were, you did a few diagrams, okay, that looked at the whole area. Just imagine having you have a map, a huge map, and you can see your side somewhere in the middle is very small, but you can see, you know, everything around it. You can see all the buildings around it and the community around it and everything. But now, when you're moving on to this stage, onto the design strategy, all you can see is the boundaries of your site and maybe a bit of the buildings around, but just not the entire building that is around you, just bits and bobs from them. Basically, you're zooming into that huge map and you're focusing only on your site. What you have to include here is the layout, the scale, the landscape of your site, and all those things. Then the next thing that you have to do is form and function. Well, for example, when you're designing a house, let's say, okay, you're thinking, how should I organize the space? Use some cubes or some colors that you can move around to organize your space. I find this the best way to create my buildings, and it's easy and fun, and yeah. And when it comes to doing your portfolio, you can just arrange them really nicely in a few different ways, and it can show your thought process, and it's just a really nice way to show your thinking and you know, the steps that you went through while you were developing your project. And yeah, perfect. And then the last part is about plans, sections, elevations, and views of the site, 3D views, whatever. It's easy, just, you know, that's the final game, final result. That's it, done. And you have a voila portfolio. That's it for the portfolio. It's quite easy and simple and straightforward. Yeah. And you're gonna get a great grade if you're going to include all of this in your portfolio, because always less is more. Remember this, guys, please. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, Archi Talk, because I really miss doing this kind of videos. Just chill, sitting down, not thinking about anything, just, you know, sharing some knowledge with you and some things that I wish I knew, and I know that this would have helped me a lot to know a few years ago. So I hope you find this useful, guys, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye. Ta-da! What am I even doing? Please stop. My neighbor is washing clothes and the whole house is moving. Please stop.